Hi, Soul Tribe. Trina Phoenix here. And I was talking to Mandi Moo this morning, and she said, oh, by the way, she says, if you see a gray horse in your dream, you might want to get on it. It has somewhere it wants to take you. So I was like, oh, an invitation from a gray horse. I think I might accept that. So I closed my eyes and went into a meditative state, and I had a vision of a gray horse. And Mandi said, it's a horse you need to ride. So upon the horse's back, I jumped, and literally we were traveling through a portal. The portal opened up, and we ended up and arrived in what the horse told me was Medulla Oblongata. So I said, wow, why are we here? He says, to heal and restore and repair to full restoration of your medulla oblongata. So then I saw Medusa turn to stone. Things turned to stone. And then I saw the pineal gland, saw it turn to stone. And then I saw ice, frozen ice. And then I saw it was turned to stone by a curse. And then I saw snakes in her hair, serpents, crocodiles, reptiles, reptilian complex within the brain. The medulla oblongata, I once heard again. This controls anger and jealousy and aggression. So then I started to look at what is the medulla oblongata. I remembered it was supportive of gray matter. It was the gray matter of the brain, the gray horse. So it started to make sense. It started to connect a lot of dots. And then I heard, they are frozen. And I was like, frozen? Yes, the healing, the divine feminine energies, the more feminine parts, they need healing. And then all of a sudden I heard this song on my radio, and it was playing the song Woman by, I think, John Lennon. And I was like, that's kind of profound. And then I heard happiness comes from the magic rays of sunshine. You can't receive enough light. And it was because of the lack of light that we couldn't properly see. And I was like, oh, wow, that's very interesting. So then I started to think about, I needed to look at the medulla oblongata. I remembered some of it from my education, but I needed a refresher. So I started looking at it. And it was interesting because the medulla oblongata is the lowest part of the brain stem. It is below the pons and above the spinal cord. There is no clear separation between the medulla or the spinal cord. They just eventually transition into the medulla oblongata. This part of your brain regulates many things. It regulates the function of your blood pressure, your breathing, oxygen levels. It also controls coughing, swallowing, sneezing, vomiting. It also controls many of the nuclei that run through the brain that have connecting tunnels that connect the sensory pathways to the cranial nerve systems. One of these very powerful nerves is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is in the medulla oblongata. If you slice through it, you would be able to see the vagus nuclei and the tracks that it travels through. The nuclei involved with the vagus nerve are the medial vestibular nuclei, the posterior nuclei, the hypoglossal nuclei, the rollers nuclei, the cunate nuclei, the spinal trigeminal nuclei, the Raphae nuclei, the nucleus ambiguus, and lateral reticular, and ovary nuclei. The olivary, they're olivary, I think is how they're pronounced. It reminds me of the olive branches. So the cranial nerves are 12 sets. So it's 12, but they're twinned in each hemisphere of the brain. So this would be your 24 elders within your brain. So when you look at these different nerves, these are the nerves that run through this system. You've got the olfactory, which controls the nasal smell. Optic nerve, the retina for the eye. The ocular motor, which is eye movement. And the trochlear nerve is the lens of the eye movement. The trigeminal is your facial. The abducens, I could not remember what was called, but the facial nerve is controls salvation when you salivate and when you taste, and that was number 7, I think. No, and then 7 is vestibular cochlear, which is balance. It's balance and hearing. And then you got the glossopharyngeal, which is swallow and taste. Vagus nerve, gland secretion. And this one goes through the head all the way through the thorax down into the abdomen. So this is the biggest, largest nerve from the brain down into the body. It's the vagus. And it controls gland secretion, which is the alchemical part of you. So then you have the hypoglossal, and then you have that does the tongue movement and controls speech. So these are the nerves that are running through the vagus nerve in the body, and these are the nerves that a lot of the we're having symptoms of these not working properly, if you understand that. So the gray horse, or the medulla oblongata, it's the attack upon the gray matter. It's the attack upon the gray horse. This is what they seek, the curse of turning things into stone so that you can't sense or see. The curse of Medusa, the destruction of the senses. The snakes in the head are potentially the nanotech. We must protect it, protect the crown. Learn the cranial sacral techniques. Learn to simply lay your hands upon the back of the neck and the head and flood it with light from your higher self. Heal the gray matter. Heal the gray horse. This is what the horse had to say, and this was the message that I was shown. So I hope this makes sense to a lot of you, and I hope it resonates and you understand it. And I thought it was a beautiful message, and it was about protecting your senses, and they run through the nerve complex in the body. And the vagus nerve, you can get a hold of it right back in here. And a lot of us, when you get headaches, you get them in the back of the head back here. That's your vagus nerve. So rub it, massage it, send light and love into it, heal it, because the healing that will happen upon this world will happen through what we can do within our own being and body, what we see and what we feel and experience. So we have to be aware of where we're thinking and what we're thinking about, and consciously connect to putting things back in right order. And that's their original organic DNA templates. So send a lot of healing, restoration, and regeneration to that which is the original templates of you. So project that and repair the medulla oblongata within you, which is controlling so much of which you are, because that's your 12 disciples or the 24 elders within you. So work with that power and work with the potential of seeing that your gray matter has become lighter and more filled with light and more of the less aggressive nature and more of the compassionate nature, because our gray matter is when we're out of balance. This is when we are aggressive and completely freaked out. So you're in ego overdrive, and we need that part of our brain. So like, you don't want to get rid of it, because that's what keeps you safe too. But you need to learn to control and to be dominantly into a lighter shade of gray, if that makes sense. So work with this part of you. It's a very powerful part of you. And I hope you have a lot of success with that, because the gray horse wanted to tell us all that it needs some support with the gray matter of our brains. And that will help to have a lot of people see more clearly and heal their bodies and activate the the power of their chemicals through their vagus complex, and they can create positive, beautiful, healing changes in the body and in the mind. So I love you all. Just a little quick hello from me to you, and hopefully that you will get to see the wisdom of the gray horse within you. I love y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye.